Part 53. The Prime Minister seduced me to give birth. Author, Jinkui. Chapter 521. Suyuexion's fingers were tightly clenched into fists in her sleeves, and people slowly descended, yes. Then Zhang Zhongxing said again, in the back house, you will be called the eldest son, and Zhang Han is the second son. The people below agreed in unison, yes. Zhang Zhongxing continued, tomorrow, I will bring Yuzi into the palace to see the emperor, and by the way, ask him to seal the prince. As soon as these words were finished, the servants couldn't bear it any longer and began to talk in a low voice. Didn't you hear someone say that you want to seal Master Han? That's the second son, don't say it wrong. You guys are still stupid. The grandfather of the country made it clear that the eldest son is the eldest son. With the eldest son, how can there be a concubine in the nobility? Yeah, concubine Jinju is also in the absence of a direct son. Although Suyuexian tried her best to control herself, she still couldn't stand. She thought that she still had a chance to start with Mrs. Wu, but she didn't expect Grandpa Guo to act so quickly this time. She didn't even have time to react. Zhang Han was even more stunned. Isn't the throne of the prince his? How can I give it to others? Still a wild species from nowhere. He looked at Zhang Zhongxing with a twisted face, no, no. I am the prince. He pointed to Zhang Yuzi, you said he is your son or your son. What evidence do you have? Who knows where this wild species came from? Mrs. Wu's face sank, Zhang Zhongxing looked at Zhang Han, his eyes wide. He said coldly, Steward Lin, get the board and slap your mouth. Zhang Zhongxing didn't like the son at all, and it was because of the existence of the son that he and his wife were separated. Also because he hates him, he is rarely disciplined. And when Zhang Han grew up, he didn't know if he was too spoiled by his mother and the servants of the mansion. Zhang Zhongxing became more and more displeased with him. Today, Zhang Han said twice that Zhang Yuzi was a wild species. If Zhang Zhongxing didn't punish him severely, there would be no shortage of voices like this in this mansion in the future. He does not allow Zhang Yuzi's identity to be questioned, he must kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Even if the chicken was his own son, he couldn't care less about it. Butler Lin never expected Zhang Zhongxing to be so cruel. As soon as the eldest son came back, he had to use the concubine to open the knife. However, this has nothing to do with him. He is the big housekeeper personally appointed by the grandfather of the country. Butler Lin waved his hand, and the servants who were kneeling on the ground got up to get the board. Suyuexian quickly knelt down and begged, I beg the lord of the country for mercy. Honor is still young and ignorant. He will never dare again. As she said that, Suyuexian tried her best to pull Zhang Han's clothes and motioned for him to kneel as well. Zhang Han is only an 18-year-old boy, at the age of impulsive and rebellious. He is usually doted on and out of control. He didn't feel scared when he heard Zhang Zhongxing slap in the face. Instead, he was very angry. He felt that his father had a new son and didn't like it. He is. Just at this moment, he saw Zhang Yu's chin lift, his eyes were full of contempt, and a mocking smile appeared on his lips, as if he was provoking him. Zhang Han was completely irritated, and pointed at Zhang Yuzi, he is a wild breed, why are you afraid of people saying it? Even if I don't say it, there will be people who say it in the capital in the future. I don't believe that you can still let people say it. Wild species, wild species, wild species. The Prime Minister seduced me to give birth. Author, Jinkui. Chapter 522. Zhang Yuzi's lips slowly crept into a small smile. This kid is too easily irritated, such a brainless person is really not worthy of being his opponent, let alone his brother. Seeing that Zhang Han dared to talk nonsense, Zhang Zhongxing couldn't help but get extremely angry, grabbed the armrest of the chair tightly, and said in a cold voice, give me a stop. Then he looked around and said in a cold voice, "In the future, if I hear this in the mansion again, no matter who it is, I will be killed." The person who went to get the board came in a hurry at this time. Zhang Zhongxing was expressionless. 20 palms, hit me hard. Suyuxian was about to go crazy and kept kowtowing, "Grandpa, please be merciful. Grandpa, please forgive Honor." Zhang Zhongxing waved his hand as if he hadn't heard it, and several servants stepped forward and knelt down on Zhang Han. Zhang Han couldn't stop struggling, but not only did he look like his mother, but he also looked like Suyuxian. The servant held Zhang Han down, his head was firmly fixed, and then a half-foot wide bamboo board hit him. The bamboo board hit the flesh and the sound was extremely loud. Zhang Han's mouth was blocked again, and he made a very penetrating woo-woo sound from his throat. Suyuxian was about to go crazy, tears streaming down her face. She knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing, "Grandpa, please forgive Honor." The three people sitting above have the same indifference. After a while, the sound of the board rang again, and Zhang Han whimpered a few times in pain. He finally understood now. Father has the eldest son, so he doesn't take his concubine seriously at all. He regretted it a lot. He shouldn't have tried to talk back just now. It's over, he's just afraid that he's going to die here today. Suyuxian suddenly knelt down to Mrs. Wu's feet, and slammed her head on the bluestone slab. "Madam, please show mercy and forgive Honor. Honor is still just a child, so that means he made a mistake." Madame Wu looked at the red jacket on her body, suddenly raised her foot, and kicked her away. Suyuxian fell to the ground and rolled, and Mrs. Wu said lightly, "Come on, take off her clothes for me." She originally came to see Zhang Zhongxing punish Zhang Han, but she didn't want to touch Suyuxian today. It's better to keep a low profile after returning home. She also didn't want Zhang Zhongxing to think that she disposed of Suyuxian as soon as she returned to the mansion because she was jealous. But this dead woman wants to bring her to the door by herself, so she can't be blamed. Several old ladies walked towards Suyuxian. Suyuxian lay on the ground and raised her head abruptly to look at Madame Wu, and then said sadly, "Madam, you are so cruel. You just returned to the mansion, and you just trampled on our mother and son. In the future, will our mother and son still have a way to survive in the mansion?" Her voice was bleak, her hair was disheveled, and her face was full of tears. The women standing around, seeing Suyuxian like this, couldn't help but feel a kind of sadness. Suyuxian was the only concubine of the grandfather of the country, and she also gave birth to sons, but they were all just nameless women. When the madam returned to the mansion, Suyuxian became like this, and they will have no way to survive in the future. Cowardly, she even cried softly. Although Zhang Zhongxing never liked her because he was designed by Suyuxian to go to bed in the past, but seeing her desolate appearance and hearing the soft sobbing of the women around him, he wondered for a while whether he and his wife had done too much today. A bit. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Prime Minister seduced me to give birth. Author, Jinkui. Chapter 523. Zhang Yuzi glanced at Zhang Zhongxing, not missing a trace of hesitation in his eyes. He stared at Suyuxian for a while, then suddenly said, "Father, is this the woman who caused our father and son to be separated for 18 years? Hearing this sentence, the unbearable feeling in Zhang Zhongxing's heart disappeared instantly, and his hatred for Suyuxian filled up again. He snorted, "For sure." Seeing that the father-in-law had no objection to his wife, several old ladies quickly approached Suyuxian. Suyuxian didn't struggle either, she knew it was useless to struggle. She just shed tears and let them strip off her clothes with a sad face, revealing the tight apricot jacket inside. Madame Wu stood up at this moment, kicked the red leather jacket and leather skirt on the ground, turned to look at Zhang Zhongxing, and said resentfully, "She knew that I was going back to the mansion today, she specially wore a red dress to greet me, it's still Kessie. Could it be that the prince of the country has promised her the seat of the prince's wife?" Only then did Zhang Zhongxing realize that the jackets and skirts on the ground were all red. As a man, he doesn't pay much attention to the things he wears, but he still knows that the concubine can't wear red. There is also Kessie, this thing is precious, how can a concubine wear it? Zhang Zhongxing's face sank, how dare you? It seems that this mansion is already in chaos. Steward Lin, how do you manage this house on weekdays? Butler Lin hurriedly knelt on the ground, drenched in cold sweat for a while. Mrs. Su didn't just wear red today, she's been wearing it for several years. Grandpa Guo didn't say it, he thought it was acquiescence, why did he have so many troubles? He could only say, because Madame Su's housekeeper is in the house. Before the words were finished, Mrs. Wu snorted softly, he, Mrs. Su. Zhang Zhongxing's face turned green, he glanced nervously at Madame Wu, and then glared at Butler Lin again. Butler Lin hurriedly slapped himself, yes, it is Auntie Su who is in charge of the house. Usually, the brocades that are given in the palace are distributed by Auntie Su, so. It meant that the red Kessie cloth was taken by herself and had nothing to do with him. Zhang Zhongxing snorted coldly, a concubine, I really don't know where the courage came from, and I dare to wear anything on my body. His face was expressionless, concubine Su has arrogantly overstepped, and she will be punished for 30, and she will fight now. Su Yuxian was half knelt on the ground and was about to faint. She originally thought that the grandfather of the country was bringing some wild woman from outside to return to the house, and she deliberately wore a red jacket and skirt, and wanted to give the other party a slap in the face. Unexpectedly, it was Mrs. Zhengtu who came. It's not enough to take off her clothes, and she has to play the board in public. At this time, the one who hit Zhang Han's board also hit a full 20 times and stopped. Zhang Han's mouth was beaten to a pulp. Zhang Han had already fainted when he fell to the ground. Zhang Zhongxing did not speak, and no one dared to step forward at this time. Su Yuxian saw her son's tragic state, and suddenly crawled over from the ground to Zhang Han, hugging him and crying non-stop. The servant with the board came over, quickly pulled her away, pressed her to the ground and started beating. On weekdays, Su Yuxian punished subordinates, and she opened her mouth to dozens of boards, and she felt that the punishment was light. Today the board fell on her own, and she felt that her life was over after just one board. After only a few hits, Su Yuxian fainted, and she didn't know if it was true or false. But Zhang Zhongxing didn't call to stop, and the board players didn't dare to stop. The Prime Minister seduced me to give birth. Author, Jinkui. Chapter 524. However, Su Yuxian had been in charge of the house for more than 10 years, and Jai Wei was still there, and these servants did not dare to fight too hard. Mrs. Wu soon found out, but she didn't say anything, just remembered the appearance of the two old women who were playing the board. I gave Ma Wei today, enough has been done. If she cares about these things, it will only make Zhang Zhongxing hate her. When the board hit 29, Zhang Yuzi suddenly stood up, didn't you say you want to see Grandma? When will you go? Zhang Zhongxing also got up, if you're not tired, then let's go now. Zhang Yuzi nodded, I think it's better to see Grandma earlier. Mrs. Wu hesitated for a while, then I'll go too. Zhang Zhongxing was overjoyed. His mother had never liked Mrs. Wu very much, so she did not agree with their marriage back then. If he hadn't asked the emperor to marry him in the court, he would never have been able to marry Mrs. Wu. Mrs. Wu also never went to the princess mansion because the eldest princess didn't like her, but she didn't expect that she would take the initiative to go there this time. All three got up and walked out. Zhang Zhongxing discussed with Mrs. Wu as he walked, look, how about my son's arrangement in Yongning courtyard, That courtyard is closest to the main courtyard and is on the east side. It's convenient for us to visit our son in the past. Mrs. Wu nodded, well, it's good. Butler Lin was behind him, and he quickly waved to the following butlers, quick, go and clean up the Yongning Academy. Open the warehouse, and choose the best bedding and furnishings. Several housekeepers quickly ordered and went to the backyard to clean up. When Zhang Yuzi and his family of 3 walked to the sedan hall, the servants who were kneeling on the ground got up. The maids in concubine Su's yard and Zhang Han's little servants quickly stepped forward, carried their master into the yard, and called the housekeeper to ask for an imperial doctor. The residence of the eldest princess is not too far from the residence of the duke. The carriage arrived in less than a quarter of an hour. A guard quickly went to the princess mansion to report it. The side door of the princess mansion had been opened, and the carriage drove directly in. After a few people got out of the car, a mama came over and was about to speak. When she suddenly saw Mrs. Wu, she couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Then she saw Zhang Yuzi again, and her eyes widened for a while. But in just an instant, she regained her composure and saluted several people. Grandpa, the eldest princess is waiting for you in Rongzi Hall. Several people changed the sedan chairs and went to Rongzi Hall. Get off the sedan chair outside the hanging flower gate. Mammy led a few people inside. There is a stone-carved shadow wall in front of you. Turning around the shadow wall, there are hand-picking corridors on both sides. There are several halls in the front, and as soon as you enter the courtyard, there is a row of 5 main rooms. After a few people walked to the front of the main room, the little maid opened the thick brocade quilted curtain and announced, the grandfather of the country is here. Zhang Yuzi followed behind Mrs. Wu and went in. When he entered, his feet softened, and then he realized that the floor was covered with a thick carpet. Then I only felt that my whole body was warm, but I didn't see the brazier. It was estimated that there was an earth dragon. After another glance, there were about 20 or 30 maids and maids in the room, but they all stood with their heads bowed, and there was no sound at all. The British man walked happily, and when he entered, he bowed his hands to the upper head. Mother, my son sees you coming. An old lady with grey hair was leaning on Luhan's couch and smiled, why are you willing to come to me today? She stood up slowly, and only then did she see Mrs. Wu. A complicated look flashed on her face, and then she nodded towards Mrs. Wu indifferently, you are here too. The Prime Minister seduced me to give birth. Author, Jinkui. Chapter 525. Mrs. Wu hurriedly saluted, I have seen the eldest princess. Zhang Zhongxing turned back to Zhang Yuzi at this time, Yuji, I have seen your grandmother. Zhang Yuyi lifted his robe and knelt down, respectfully kowtowed on the ground, and then straightened up. The eldest princess on the couch was stunned when she heard Zhang Zhongxing's words, then leaned forward and looked at Zhang Yuzi carefully. The more she looked at her face, the more surprised she became. This child is. Zhang Zhongxing smiled and said, it's me and Yao Yao's son. The eldest princess didn't ask where the son came from at this time, she just said, get up, come and see me. Zhang Yuzi got up and walked to the couch. The eldest princess pulled him to sit beside her, looked at her carefully, and said to Zhang Zhongxing, this looks like when you were young. She grabbed Zhang Yuzi's hand and asked, what the hell is going on with this child? Madame Wu looked back at De Ya. De Ya opened a bag she was carrying, and respectfully sent the thing forward. A mama came over and took the thing, holding it in her hand to show the eldest princess. When the eldest princess saw the little quilt, her heart trembled. She still had an impression of this little quilt. Because Mrs. Wu was not good at needlework, and at that time she had to make a quilt for her son by herself, she disapproved very much and thought she could not do it well. After Mrs. Wu was done, she also had people take it over to look at the stitches. Although it was a little crooked, it was barely passable. She didn't expect to see this little quilt after so many years. At this time, Mrs. Wu slowly knelt down and said all the events of the year. The eldest princess heard dark clouds all over her face. Mrs. Wu knelt down and kowtowed, "Mother, it's all my fault for this matter, which made Yuzi live outside for 19 years. The eldest princess sullenly said, "Of course you are not good. Zhonghang is also responsible. You have been away for a few days, and he doesn't even know a letter. Are there dead people in the house? And that mammy, the thing that should be killed, almost covered my grandson to death." She said and patted Zhang Yuzi's hand, "What a wonderful child, fortunately, I got it back." She looked at Zhang Yuzi, the more she looked, the better she looked, the more she loved her. She couldn't stop rubbing Zhang Yuzi's hand. "If you don't go back to the Duke's mansion today, just stay here with Grandma." Zhang Zhongxing hurriedly said, "They have just arrived in the capital, and they just dropped their feet when they got home. They came over without even changing their clothes. It's Yuji who has filial piety and is eager to see you." The eldest princess immediately smiled, "Yuyi looks like a good boy, so he has more filial piety than you." Seeing that his wife was still kneeling on the ground, Zhang Zhongxing coughed lightly and gave the eldest princess a wink. The eldest princess glared at him and sighed, "Get up." Madame Wu just got up from the ground. The eldest princess looked at Madame Wu, "Have you decided to go back to the manor?" Mrs. Wu nodded. The eldest princess was silent for a while, and then said, "It's not easy for you, and it's not easy for you in the past 19 years. Forget it. If you want to go back, it's just Zhonghang here, alas." She grabbed Zhang Yuzi's hand suddenly and unconsciously, and looked at Zhang Zhongxing, "I ask you, are you planning to take Yuzi into the palace tomorrow?" Zhang Zhongxing nodded, "I will bring Yuzi to see the emperor tomorrow, and by the way, I will hand over the book to ask for the seal for him." The eldest princess looked at Zhang Zhongxing, and said slowly, "You are almost 40. You never thought about what the emperor would think when your wife returned to the manor and found her son. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Prime Minister seduced me to give birth. Author, Jinkui. Chapter 526. Zhang Zhongxing was silent for a moment. "Of course I thought about it. However, my son has lived alone for 18 years, and he doesn't want to live like that anymore. When I enter the palace tomorrow, I will resign as the commander of the imperial army." Madame Wu lowered her head deeply. Zhang Yuzi understood after a little thought. His pro-grandfather General Wu held a quarter of the troops of Great Chu. And his biological father also controls the Forbidden Army, which adds up to almost half of the troops of Dechu. If they unite to rebel, who can resist? This is no wonder the emperor, everyone would think so. Strange only, his father should not marry his mother. The two should not marry. The other day, he heard her mother say that 20 years ago, because of his father's merits, the emperor smiled and asked him what reward he wanted. His father said, "The emperor will agree to anything you want." The emperor may think that Zhang Zhongxing has always been measured, and he really loves this nephew, and he said that of course, as long as there is anything in the world, I can give it to you. Then Zhang Zhongxing was in the court hall, begging the emperor to marry him in front of the civil and military officials. At that time, Zhang Zongxing's father Lao Qiagong was in charge of the Forbidden Army, so the emperor naturally didn't want to see two important ministers holding military power become in-laws. But for a while, there was no one who could replace the two to take over the military power. But the emperor's words had already been spoken, and it was difficult to ride a tiger in front of the civil and military officials. After hesitating for a while, he had to agree to the marriage on the spot. So not long after they got married, the emperor gave the beauty. Although Zhang Zhongxing was young at that time, he was not completely out of mind, so he brought the beauty back to the mansion. That's why Mrs. Wu made trouble with him. Later, the two fell out completely. As long as General Wu entered the capital, Zhang Zhongxing would hurry to hide, otherwise his old father-in-law would beat him to death. Therefore, General Wu and the old prince also turned against each other. Of course, whether it is true hatred or for the emperor to see, it is hard to say. The eldest princess sighed, "You can decide for yourself. It's just that you're still at home when you're less than 40, alas." Zhang Zhongxing shook his head, "Mother, I think this is just right. I owe Yao Yao and Yuzi too much. I don't need to be an errand in the future. Wouldn't it be just right for me to accompany them at home every day?" The eldest princess is naturally unhappy that her son, who is only in his prime, will be idle at home in the future. However, when she glanced at Zhang Yuzi, her son let go of the power in his hand, and just pushed his grandson up. The grandson is still young and needs to move up step by step. After a decade or so, the emperor may not still be there, but the grandson can just occupy a high position. Thinking of this, she felt a lot more balanced. Zhang Zhongxing had a heart-to-heart connection with the eldest princess mother and son, and then said, "Yu Ji is a good reader. I've already taken the exam for Zioki. If I hadn't been framed last year and I couldn't refer to it, I would have been stable in the middle." When the eldest princess heard this, she was both happy and annoyed. What's going on? Mrs. Wu then drugged Zhang Yuzi, and then talked about being pushed downstairs and breaking her leg. The eldest princess was very distressed. This child is too good, it is inevitable that people will be jealous. Grandma will send someone over here to cut the damned piece into 8 pieces. Zhang Yuzi smiled, "Thank you Grandma, but I have already taken revenge on my own, so I don't need Grandma to take action." The eldest princess nodded, "That's good. In the future, with your grandma and your parents here, no one will dare to bully you in this capital." Zhang Yuzi smiled again, "Thank you Grandma. The Prime Minister seduced me to give birth." Author, Jinkui. Chapter 527. The eldest princess was called by Grandma, and her heart was about to melt. The child was born beautiful and in her blood, how could she not like it? She rubbed Zhang Yuzi's back, and suddenly realized that Zhang Yuzi's robe was ordinary brocade, and there was only a hairband on his head, not even a golden crown. Looking at it again, there is not even a jade pendant on his body. The eldest princess felt extremely distressed, and quickly ordered her mammy, "Go to the warehouse and pick some good materials for Yuzi to make robes. There are also those mink fur and fox furs that the emperor rewarded a while ago, they were all used to make fur robes and cloaks for Yuzi. By the way, bring the boxes that hold the jade pendants for Yuji to pick. After thinking about it, I still feel that it is not enough. By the way, there are also sapphires, diamonds, and dongju, all of which are large and a few are used to set the gold crown for Yuzi. The rest, if you see what you can use, bring them all." After speaking, the eldest princess could not stop rubbing Zhang Yuzi's hand. "Where have you lived all these years? How have you lived?" Zhang Zhongxing said, "He was raised in a farmhouse. Since I was a child, I not only had to go up the mountain to chop wood, but also go down to the fields to do farm work." The eldest princess felt distressed. "Do you still have to do farm work? It's hard for my grandson." Zhang Yuzi smiled, "It's not too bitter." Zhang Zhongxing said again, "Why not suffer? The family who picked him up is poor, and they don't have to work. They can't eat meat and fish for a year at home. I have pity on my son." He originally said this because he wanted the eldest princess to feel more distressed for her son. Talking and talking, I cried myself, and turned my back to wipe my tears. He heard what Mrs. Wu said about eating meat. Madame Wu listened to what Chen said again. When she was in Xiangcheng, what she liked most was to ask Chen Shi about Zhang Yuzi's childhood. Now Zhang Yuzi knows all the things that Chen Shi remembers from childhood to adulthood. Madame Wu couldn't help crying when she heard it. When the eldest princess heard that she could not eat meat for a year, She felt more and more distressed. She hugged Zhang Yuzi's shoulder and burst into tears for a while. The servants standing in the room, some remembered the hard times they lived at home and cried. Some people think that they can eat meat every day, but the son does not eat meat, it is really pitiful, and they cry. Zhang Yuzi looked at a room full of people wiping tears, and only felt sad in his heart. There are many people in the world who cannot eat meat for a year. The south is pretty good, rice is cooked twice a year, basically enough to eat. There are also many people in the north who cannot eat enough all the year round. How can these high-ranking people know the suffering of the people? After a while, a nanny came over with a lot of things brought by the maids and wives. There are dozens of brocades of various colors. All are colors suitable for young men. There is a big box full of all kinds of leather. The gems, diamonds were packed in a box, and Mammy opened it to Zhang Yuzi to take a look before closing it. There are 2 gold belts and jade belts. There are also 2 golden crowns, a purple gold crown set with pearls, and a gold crown set with various colored gems. There are no men in the mansion. I don't know when they got them, but they were all found by the mama. Then a row of maids held a box and took turns to step forward. Zhang Yuzi looked at it, and there were either jade pendants, fan pendants, or hairpins worn by men, as well as gold and silver hollowed-out aromatherapy balls, and purses inlaid with gold and jade pendants. He only reached out and picked out a silver gilt aromatherapy ball, thinking of giving it to Jiao Jiao. Others, it seemed that it was not something that Jiao Jiao could use, so he didn't take anything. The Prime Minister seduced me to give birth. Author, Jinkui. Chapter 528. Seeing him like this, the eldest princess simply picked out more than 20 jade pendants by herself. Seeing that he likes aromatherapy balls, she asked someone to take out all the aromatherapy balls in the warehouse and bring them to him later. Then he instructed the mother to go to the warehouse to pick out 2 sets of the best tea sets and some decorations for Zhang Yu to use. That stans could not wait to evacuate the warehouse. After picking things, it was not too early, and a few people had dinner in the princess mansion, and then they went back to the mansion. The eldest princess specially sent a car to carry the things she gave Zhang Yuzi. The family of 3 sat in another carriage. The carriage of the Kuagong mansion was very spacious and was not crowded at all. Zhang Zhongxin chose to sit next to Mrs. Wu, and then looked at his son. He was overjoyed. With a wife and children by your side, this is the feeling of home. For the sake of this family, he felt no pity to give up his position as the commander of the Imperial Guard. The carriage entered the house through the side door. Zhang Yu got out of the car, and changed to another car to go to the guest house. Zhang Zhongxin and Mrs. Wu went to the backyard in the carriage. Mrs. Wu was silent. Zhang Zhongxin took her by the shoulder. Why, is it your son's visit to his adoptive mother? Do you feel unhappy? Mrs. Wu didn't make a sound. After a while, she threw herself into Zhang Zongxing's arms. I really envy Sister Chen sometimes. Yaji is like a mother and son when she is with her. I always feel that my son seems to be separated from me by a layer. Zhang Zhongxin patted her on the shoulder. Take your time, after all, he has only been with us for a short time. He himself does not have the feeling of Mrs. Wu. Maybe father and son are not as close as mother and son. Perhaps there is no adoptive father to compare. He felt that compared with another son, he could find the feeling of being a father more in Zhang Yuzi. Zhang Yuzi arrived at the guest house. At this time, it didn't take long for the Chen family to finish their dinner. Gu Yunjiao was in the lobby of the guest house, watching Liaolang and Gu Chuansanya practicing calligraphy. Chen was making shoes by the side. One of Zhang Yu stepped into the door, and everyone raised their heads to look at him. Looking at these familiar faces, Zhang Yuzi felt like he was going home. Chen Shi smiled and asked, "Have you eaten yet?" Zhang Yuzi nodded, "I ate." Then he gave Gu Yunjiao a wink, and then entered the small hall next door. There was no one in the hall next door, and no lights were lit. As soon as Gu Yunjiao entered, she was hugged by Zhang Yuzi. Then Zhang Yuzi sighed softly. He greedily absorbed the smell of her body, and said softly, "I miss you so much, I miss you so much." He hadn't hugged her for a long time. On the way here, there are so many eyes and mixed eyes, and there is no chance to even hold hands with her. Although we still see each other every day, the more we meet, the more I miss them. Gu Yunjiao nestled in his arms and hummed contentedly. The undisturbed room and the dimly lit environment made Zhang Yuzi more courageous. He pressed Gu Yunjiao's head tightly into his arms, rubbing his chin and face on her head. At the same time, one of his hands was also wandering around Gu Yunjiao's waist, as if he was eager to find a place to get in. Gu Yunjiao twisted slightly. "Well, I said you are not allowed to move." Zhang Yuzi's hand moved a few times, and finally stopped at her waist. He slowly lowered his head, rubbed his lips against her ears, panting slightly, "Jiao Jiao, Jiao Jiao, I want to marry you soon." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Prime Minister seduced me to give birth. Author, Jin Kui. Chapter 529. There was an unprecedented tingling feeling in her ears, and Gu Yunjiao's body seemed to be a little soft. She hurriedly avoided her. "I can't get married yet, I'm too young." Moreover, there are still many things she has not thought about. Zhang Yuzi's lips chased after her again, and whispered in her ear, "It's really not too small." Gu Yunjiao beat him angrily. Zhang Yuzi turned and said solemnly, "After the new year, you will meet 16, count 17. Most girls' families are married at this age. Jiao Jiao, shall we get married? I really want to be with you all the time. I want to see you as soon as I get home. I want to hold you all the time. As soon as we separate from you, I will miss you constantly." Gu Yunjiao listened to Zhang Yuyi's words. Her heart softened. It's just getting married, she really thinks it's too early. After the new year, she was only 16, and she was too young to be like that. Of course, it was not good for her health. Moreover, in case of pregnancy, it is even more troublesome. Although she has a contraceptive prescription, the contraceptive prescription is not 100%. If the contraceptive fails to get pregnant, it will be really troublesome. The child can't have it, for fear that the effect of the drug will cause deformity. If you don't, you have to knock it out, and knocking out a child will also hurt your body. So, only not getting married is the best way. After thinking about it in her heart, Gu Yunjiao became firm again. She looked up at Zhang Yuzi. The light was very dim, she could only see her outline, and his eyes staring at him in the dark. "Wait a minute, okay? Wait until the end of next year, let's get married again, okay?" Zhang Yuzi looked down at her, hugged her tighter, and said quietly after a while, "Okay." When Gu Yunjiao heard him agree, she rubbed her face on his chest, and then slowly stretched out her arms and wrapped her arms around his waist. Zhang Yuzi's body froze slightly. Jiao Jiao took the initiative to hug him. This made him feel that Jiao Jiao was also pleased with him. Her hands were on her waist, and her body was in her arms. He really wanted to now. Gu Yunjiao suddenly twisted in his arms. "What's on your body? It's so hard that it's holding me back." Zhang Yuzi blushed, then stretched his hand into his arms and took out an aromatherapy ball. Although the light was dim, the gold and silver still glittered in the dark night. Gu Yunjiao happily took it over. "Yeah, aromatherapy ball. This was my favorite game when I was a kid." When she was a child, she always couldn't understand why the thing in the center of the aromatherapy ball didn't fall out. Zhang Yuzi was stunned when he heard her words. The aromatherapy ball is used to incense the clothes and quilts, and there are ignited spices inside. No matter how the ball rolls, the spices inside will not spill out. The crafting of this thing is more complicated, and the spices are never cheap. With the Gu family's previous living standard, it should not be able to use this. However, Zhang Yuzi found the explanation by himself in a while, and it should have been passed down by her ancestors. Gu Yunjiao thought that a few children had never seen this new thing before, and ran out of the small hall with the aromatherapy ball in hand, shouting, "Xiao Chuan, Sanya, Liaolang, show you something fun." Zhang Yuzi sighed helplessly. He always wanted to be with Jiao Jiao all the time, and Jiao Jiao, besides him, seemed to have a lot of things to pay attention to. He followed Gu Yunjiao out and sat down at the table. The Prime Minister seduced me to give birth. Author, Jin Kui. Chapter 530. Gu Yunjiao put a small paper ball in the middle of the aromatherapy ball and showed it to a few children. Several children were quickly attracted to the novelty. Chen Shi glanced at them, and felt more and more that the children should live together and grow up playing, laughing together. Living alone in a yard with no one to speak to, how lonely it is. She simply put down her work and looked at Zhang Yuzi. "Sanlang, mother has made up her mind, and plans to find a house to move out as soon as possible." Zhang Yuzi's face changed slightly. "Why, did the servants in this house neglect you?" Chen Shi shook his head. "It's my mother who is not used to such a high-profile life. Besides, it's better for children to live together." Zhang Yuzi frowned. "Then you don't have to move out, just live in a yard." Chen Shi still shook his head. "That's not in line with the rules, it can't be because we broke the rules of the government." Gu Yunjiao also said next to her, "I have discussed it with my mother. I still have some money in my hand. Let's see if there is a suitable house, buy one, and our family will still live together." Zhang Yuzi frowned even more when he heard that Gu Yunjiao was also moving out. Knowing Zhang Yuzi's thoughts, Mrs. Chen hurriedly said, "It's nothing, after we move out, if you miss us, after school, you can go over to see it, or go back to the Duke's mansion after you have eaten." "Is it still the same as before?" Gu Yunjiao added, "I also think it's better to live outside than here. This country's mansion is big, and there are so many servants, and people are always around, so it's inconvenient to do anything. There were several maids here just now, and we don't need them to serve, so I sent them all away." These words went to Zhang Yuzi's heart. There were too many people, and he couldn't get close to Jiao Jiao at all. He pulled Gu Yunjiao's hand from under the table. "Yes." Gu Yunjiao quickly withdrew her hand and glared at Zhang Yu. Zhang Yuzi grabbed her hand again. "Are you still planning to open a pharmacy?" However, Gu Yunjiao shook her head. "I've thought about it again in the past 2 days. It's still too tiring to open a pharmacy. 365 days a year, from morning to night, I can rest during the New Year's Day. I don't have time to read books, and I don't have time to take care of things at home. I'm going to start a perfume toilet water workshop first. Otherwise, all the perfumes have to be shipped from the capital. The shipping cost is too high, and the earnings will be less. After this workshop is completed, I'll take a look. If I have the energy, I'll create a workshop to produce some finished medicines. When the workshops are up and running, I'll see a doctor when I'm free. I only see a few a day, and I'm not tired." Zhang Yuzi squeezed her hand gently. "Okay. Leave everything in the workshop to me, and I'll find a place for you and arrange manpower." Gu Yunjiao looked at him with a light smile and said Chen's teeth were sore from the side. The two of them couldn't keep their eyes off each other for a moment. "It's all like this, so don't hurry up to get married." She also wanted to hug her grandson quickly. Zhang Yuzi stayed in the guest house until both Gu Chuan and Lu Lang yawned, and then he let go of Gu Yunjiao's hand and got up. "After leaving the guest house, I got on the bus again. The palace is too big, so taking the bus can save a lot of time. Yongning Court is next to the east of the main courtyard. It is the best and most exquisite yard other than the main courtyard. There is also a wisteria in the yard that I don't know how many years old. When spring comes, the wisteria flowers hang down from the shelf, which is as beautiful as a dream.